Colton put a rod through the pan.
Yep.
And I exceeded the potential, the capabilities of what my converter would handle, and it's ballooned out, locked everything down. You can hear in the video it blowing through the converter, and then like it kind of got a little worse and a little worse and a little worse, and then that passed with Colton. I let out and went around the curve, and it just, like it just locked up and died.
So the oil pressure's good, 160 degrees.
They never got hot, had good oil pressure.
Yeah, so oil's clean as a pin.
The plugs were fantastic.
Plugs are beautiful, so. But let's see though,
Yeah, and like my car was doing 113 mile an hour. So it's got the power to do it. It just I can't leave on a trans brake or nothing, but there's nothing like the way a big block pulls up top, and that's only 4 pounds of boost, 4 or 5 pounds of boost. That's no boost at all. So it's got potential to actually do really great things. But my car's over at Carrie's, and Colton's is in storage.
she's a going when she let it go though.
No, that truck flies. That truck flies. I got a first-person view of how fast that truck is. It's 60s like crazy. It's just like gone.
Don't look pretty good though. He's like, well, I said, well, I don't need a parachute for Christmas now.
Yeah, no.
I need other stuff, so. He's like, well, I'll save it and do something else. So. Another plan has begun. We got to check Justin tomorrow and see what's going on.
Yeah, something's
We'll start on it in the
somewhere.
morning. We'll see what's going on with it. So.
All right, like I was saying, I thought maybe it ballooned the converter out. Look how far out that converter is pushed out. I mean, it's up against everything. Like, I don't know if y'all can see it like that, but it is out there and it is wedged.
Look like that. That's just my opinion.
That motor is stuck, and she no bud. God, the highs and lows kill me. Absolutely kill me.
That's better than overnight in the morning.
Oil come out, it doesn't smell burnt. There's very little material in it. I just don't know, but we're gonna pull it out and I'm gonna tear it down and figure out what all I gotta get. All right, well, we pulled everything off the front, pulled the valve covers off, and absolutely nothing. It's fine. There's no material nowhere in this motor. Wow, are you locked up, motor? These fittings are bigger well. All right, well, we dropped the pan off of it and didn't find nothing, and now we're taking the rockers off. All right, we got the intake off. Everything looks flawless. See, I told y'all it was a hydraulic flat tappet cam. Nothing special. Now we got to pull these last 4 head bolts, and then we'll pull the head off and look and see in there. Look at the size of these runners. Look at that, massive.
Grip jink right there, grip jink.
Big time, fancy pants. Cast in the US of A.
But as mean as this subject is, it's gonna be new.
Yeah.
It's already got that horsepower wheels rolling.
Yeah, so we was thinking that maybe.
He is because he didn't build it.
Yeah.
I might put a bigger cam in it.
I'm gonna do some math, and I mean, the combination is pretty much awesome for street strip. Hydraulic flat tap with a profile on the cam. Once I see the cam number, then I'll know. But I mean, nothing feels like it gave up. Nothing feels weird. Absolutely. All right, cam's out, lifters are out. Cam bearings flawless, cam was flawless, lifters were flawless, everything looked new.
Beautiful.
Yeah, the valves on the heads, you see the mixtures and stuff, everything was nice, everything was happy. The AFRs, what they were telling me was correct. See the exhaust valves, nice coloration. Yeah. I don't know. Okay, so all the rods and pistons and stuff are out. The journals and all this stuff looks fine. And it still won't turn. So,
I thought it got this one, but it don't look like it spun it. So Justin says thrust, so it's probably.
yeah, I think the converter ballooned out a little bit and pushed this in and bound everything up. Because it was fine until it wasn't.
Yeah. And it idled down.
Yeah.
No squeakage, no reapage,
Yeah, nothing.
no monkey shine, no monkey dog.
You want to pry on that crank a little bit and see if it moves? Nothing.
Yep.
Yep.
You're right. Bet you.
Yeah.
You're probably right, old Pop.
Alright, so it was the thrust bearing.
He's right.
Look at that. See right there where it's got so hot that it smashed it out? Just pushed it out.
Yeah, that's vicious right there.
Yeah, see the back versus the front? There's a gap in the front.
Yeah. Yes, right. Look at that.
Yep.
You never seen one do that.
Uh,
The converter has shoved it and that way and took it.
but it done that and then
Fucked
spun
out of
it. Let's take all this off and see if that crank's okay.
Keep your fingers crossed, people.
Yeah, no kidding. Alright, so we can't get the thrust bearings off of this crank, so I'm gonna have to get another crank. No, they will not come off.
Justin said he was looking on YouTube and couldn't find out about how to get these bearings off when they seize to this crank. Seize to a crank, so I don't know if anybody's ever seen it or not, but just put some marble mixture oil down on it, heat it with a propane a little bit.
Beat it with a hammer.
And half of it popped off. We didn't think we was gonna be able to get it off, but I asked him, I said, you look on there and see if anybody's ever done that before, since it's locked on the damn crank. So just throw the propane torch to it and then spray some mixture oil down in it and kept beating on it and it come off. So maybe the crank ain't too bad off, but
We'll find out.
thrust bearing, this is
Push
1,000.
the crank. Push the crank into the thrust bearing and seize the thrust bearing up on the journal. As you can see, everything else looks fine. So it wasn't a.
That converter wasn't set up for no big motor
No,
or
it was
nothing
rated,
else.
it was
So,
rated like 600 horsepower.
yeah, so it didn't work at all. So but we're trying to save the crank. It's a $1,000 crank.
Yeah, we're beating on $1,000 crank with it.
Only us would hit a $1,000 crank with a chisel. They're hitting the bearing. We're not hitting the crank, so calm down.
Hit the crank for head.
We ain't hitting the crank. Alright, we'll see. You get the other half off.
If we can.
You gotta get it off. All this is just raised up on top of it, so maybe they don't let a crank dude look at it and see what he thinks. But all that's just shit off the bearing.
Yeah, you might. All right, I'm about to reassemble this Turbo 400. This and that plate down there. Had to order them. They showed up. Put them in. See, that goes on like that. Had to make it fit, but it goes on like that, and then the whole thing goes down in there. Put a little on the back side there.
Runner going together.
Yep. Turbo 400 with a trans brake. The planter I never took out. Helical come out. I was just looking at that. It's perfectly fine.
Back together. There you go.
We still got to do the valve body and all that. But
Yeah, still pretty 90%. The hard end of it. He done good.
for the second time.
Him and that transmit's gonna be old friends. Sit here and watch him learn so much shit, it's amazing. Blows my mind. I've sat watching, I just watch instead of
Mind
watching.
blown.
Yeah. I just suck up every second. That's how you do it though. He get him a book and he goes to it.
All right, valve body's on. Everything's back together like it should be. That's back in the little notch. Check the in play.
Guaranteed.
Yes, hopefully it works better this time. It stays working. Like it worked great, and then it just got gradually worse and worse until it didn't have no second or third. And so we'll call it good and try it.
He got it figured out.
All right, put a drain plug in it. Yes, I know that's for an oxygen sensor, but it's what I had, so that's what I used. It will drain fluid. Hopefully it doesn't leak. But it'll weld it all around and the inside too. All right, well, we put the front end on. We got all the parts and stuff out of the way. Turbo 400 is rebuilt. Car is outside with no engine. Got to order some bearings and rings and all that stuff. And I will put the big motor together.
Crank's fixed, man. Dude turned it around today.
Yeah, Nelson.
Yeah.
On Leicester Highway.
Yeah.
Believe it or not.
That's a good dude, man. He got it done. Done a good job on it, too.
Yeah, I measured it. Everything is the way it should be. It's nice. It's all pretty. So, good deal. All right, I'm back over here at Carrie's. This is the big block for the 74. Holding the cylinders, fixing to put all this together. Alright, these are King HP series. These are awesome, expensive bearings. These are 010 on the mains and standard on the rod. Checking the in play, I just clearanced this. So right there. Put the crank in, check the in play. Alright, my in play is set at 7 thousandths, which is a little more than what I'd like, but everything's nice and loose. But when you put this on, the rear main cap, everything tightens up to the point where you can't turn the crank. So there's something questionable about this rear main cap here. These are torqued to 100 on the inner and 95 on the outer for this. This is a Merlin block. See, it's a Merlin 2. And I was fighting an issue up here. Not everywhere else, up here. So we'll check that and see what's going on. We'll pop it back off and look at it real close. And I can now stick the bouncer on it and rotate it around. It's tighter than what I'd like it to be, but I got to pull all this back apart and measure all the clearances and stuff. So, but I can stick the bouncer on it and I can rotate it. So it's the in-place set. Everything seems to be right. Torque specs is right. Everything's pulled down tight. So, all right, it takes less than 20 foot-pounds to rotate the crank. It feels a little tighter than what I would like, but like right there. Get past that, see? Right there. Yeah, see? Then when you get to that point, it goes, let's say, go 24 foot-pounds. Let's go to 30. Yeah, see? I don't like that. I think clearances is too tight. I think clearance is too tight back here. Yep, I found the issue. See this right here? See that discoloration? Clearance is good on this side. On that side, it's tight. This is how it should look. That's with 2/1000 clearance. See how tight that is? That's like 1/1000. Way too tight. I'm trying to get this thing built so I can have it, the big block of stuff in for the toy run. Carlos Camaro is pretty much ready to go. It needs to go up the road one more time. I'm trying to finish John's Ventura. I got to work on Dave's stuff. I got to put another motor in Colton's S10, which is right here. We're going to throw my 356 in Colton's S10 for the toy run, since he threw a rod out of the side of his, the 406. And that way it'll be able to run and drive. And this thing made like 600 on 8 pounds of boost. It's nothing special. Cast iron headed, stock bottom end with a forged piston in it. Absolutely nothing special. And it went 680s with no trans brake. And I was like, I probably would have went a 650 after I got done tuning it. But this is a stout little, for what it is, this thing runs awesome. I spent a lot of time and a lot of tuning to make this thing do what it does. So, anyway, we're going to throw that in the S10. He'll have it for the toy run. This should be together in my car for the toy run. You guys bring a 57. Cars are going to bring Camaro. Just so much to do, so little time to do it. But top ring is gapped to 31. Second ring is gapped at 41. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it is a big bore. All right. Fixing to get the bottom end and stuff in here. And I ain't decided whether I'm going to run this motor or put my wicked 355 together with all forged guts. Nonetheless, I'm going to finish putting her together. Done set the ring gaps. Rod bolts torqued to 90 foot-pounds. They are ARP 1.8 underhead length, 7/16 thread, 7/16 by 20. So they torque to 90 foot-pounds according to Manley's specifications and ARP. But these use straight motor oil. That's what the specification says. So I'm gonna do what it says versus what I think I know. But all right, gonna keep on plugging along here. So I guess I'll run out of memory card on my GoPro. I got so much footage and stuff, and I got so much to edit and no time to do it. But just knocked in number 8, torqued it down. These, like I said in the other camera, I don't know if it recorded, but these are 7/16. Use 10W30 oil. I go 30, 60, 90. And now I'm gonna put the oil pump stuff back on and see how much foot-pounds it takes to rotate the assembly. I'm shooting like maybe 30 foot-pounds, 35. Should be good because of the tension on the rings. Rings got real good tension on them. Alright, oil pan stuff's on, bouncers on, bottom end's buttoned up. Pistons, rods, all that, and the lifters and stuff are in. Alright, fixing to do head gaskets. These are Felpro 1017s. This is a good head gasket. Should be plenty good enough for the amount of boost I plan to run on this deal. Probably going to run upwards of 10 to start out, and because I had it at 4 before, I'm running at 10 and then probably go to 15. Yep, it's a hydraulic flat tappet. I'm going to go to a roller, but for now I want to get this thing together and done. So I'll have it for the toy run. So I'm going to leave the flat tappet cam in it. It's a mild, it's a 236, 246 on a 551, 560 lift on a 114 lobe separation, which is a pretty wide lobe separation. I prefer to run a tighter lobe separation, but this it'll do fine. All right, all the long bolts I torqued to 75, and the lower bolts went to 65. Everything seemed to squash good. So, all right, I was able to find some VR1 10W30 instead of 20W50. Not easy to come by. In fact, I had to call in some favors, but I got some. I got 7 quarts for 50 bucks. So, not cheap, but it's an engine. You don't want to skimp out on the oil. But this has got all the zinc and everything in it. I usually run 20W50, but this has got tighter clearances in it than what I usually run. Usually like to run, 2.5 to 3 thousandths. This is all about 2 thousandths. So, all right, valves are set. Go quarter turn, preload, and everything is primed. Have 40 pounds of oil pressure with a drill. So, we'll see how she does. All right, so here it is. Blacked everything out, cleaned my intake, cleaned the water pump and all that. It's degreed, 0 and 36. So, I mean, it ain't perfect by no means, but it's good enough. I'm gonna slap me some stars on the pan, and I'm gonna call it good. I just went with black because black paint's cheaper. That Chevy orange is like freaking 15, 16 bucks a can now. I got that black for 7. So, if something happens with this, I'm going back small block. Like this stuff for big block. Big blocks are killer, but man, everything was so expensive for these suckers. Just so expensive. And like this thing, they ain't nothing like the torque of a big block, especially when you add a little boost to it. Very little boost makes worlds of difference. But hopefully it does good. If not, like I said, I've got a wicked little 355 I'm fixing to put together. I was wanting to be building them both at the exact same time, that way I could pick which one I wanted to use. But I'm gonna put this in there and put about 10 pounds of boost through it, and we'll see what she does. It's just heavy too. Wish I had a set of aluminum heads, but it is what it is. They're just too expensive. All right, there she is. She's over here fixing to mate up to the trans. This is a 400, and I got one of them SFI housings and all that stuff. This is a transmission that I built. What sucks is you have to cut the front of them things off to get one of them fronts to fit on it. And I started out with one like that right there, which is for a Pontiac, and I just cut the end of it off and fit that. That front section actually come from a transmission that Davo traded to Adam, and I bought that from Adam because he used the rest of the transmission. But that right there was a universal deal. So, all right, fixing to throw the trans and stuff in the car and just cinch her down. Then I'll finish buttoning it all up a little bit later, but I just want to get it all in the car. Looks a lot better black, I think. Motor, trans, everything is down in the car. All right, it is officially cold enough for a fire now. So, got a little fire going. Got all my stuff to build engines still out, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this 355 together. 30 over 350. Got a forged 4340 crank, forged I-beam rods, forged TRW dish pistons. Static compressor should be like 8.5 to 1. I know people are like, oh, that's way too low, but I'm going to cram the boost to this motor. We're going to go probably 25-30 pounds of boost. I got studs and stuff for the mains. That block already has studs in it, but I got new ones because I don't know how old those are, how many times they've been torqued or whatever else. So I'm putting new ones in it. And I wouldn't even go with studs, but that thing's been line board and all that stuff for studs. So I'm going to assemble it. First I'm going to get the block out, put it on stand, clean everything up real good, and then I'll start putting it together. But yeah, since I got all my stuff to build a motor out already, I'm just going to put another one together. That way, if something happens to the big block that's in the 74 now, I've got a backup plan. All right, got that bolted up. Now I'm going to pick her up, stick her on the stand. Yeah, see, these ain't that bad. Not bad at all. Cool. All right. It ain't nothing like a big block. I love little small blocks, man. Big blocks make killer torque, but I love a small block. It just, I don't know, it's what I've always built, small motors. All right, she's on there. Now I'm gonna take it apart and clean it. All right, I'm gonna take my wire brush and clean up all these cylinders, get all this surface rust and crap off of them, and then see what kind of shape they're in, and then I'll hone them. All right, cylinders cleaned up and honed. Just gotta wipe them back out again. I just cleaned the surfaces. This thing was rusted pretty bad, but that's the beauty of this stuff. You can clean it up. All right, everything's cleaned up. This hole back here, I took and drilled a channel, like a bevel, to allow the oil hole to line up a little bit better. But, yep, main bearings, these are King HPs, standard. They're set up for boost and street use, so they're good bearings. Is what I use in the big blocks, what I use in Colton's S10. They're good bearings. All right, here is the crank. I got it all cleaned up. This is a LPC Liberty 4340 forged 3.48 stroke standard. All right, studs are in, everything's torqued, crank feels nice and smooth. 70 on the inner, 65 on the outer. ARP says 80, but I'm going 70 inner, 65 outer. 80 is just too much. All right, crank is in. Everything's nice and smooth. In place, set at 5 thousandths. I could probably take it out and open up a little bit more, but I don't want to. So there it is. This is gonna make a good motor. Like, it just feels so good. All right, and the only reason I went with studs is because this blockhead already had studs in it and was already line bored and honed for the studs. So, all right, all the pistons and rods and everything. These rod bolts go 30, 50, 75. They are 7/16 by 1.440. There it is, all together. All right, fix to put the cam in. I got the crank gear on. Fix to throw the cam in this thing. I'm not going to tell you the specs on the cam because it's kind of top secret. But it's a .900 base circle and it is a solid roller. I usually will run hydraulic rollers and street stuff. It's just better that way. Well, I actually run hydraulic roller profiles with solid roller lifters on top of them, and then I have a way I set the lash. It's actually just about perfect. But I'm gonna go with a solid roller on this one. And I'm going to order the valve springs and stuff. I got the heads in the car. I'll show you them in a little while. They are CNC ported 220cc, 64cc combustion chamber. This is stuff that I've had put up that I've been saving for a really awesome build. And that's what this is. Like, I got the big motor in my car now with twins. But if something happens to that, I want to have a backup plan. This and I'll be able to run 20-25 pounds of boost on with absolutely no problem. I can run up to 16 on pump gas with no water meth, with nothing crazy, just 93 octane, and probably, like I said, 17 pounds of boost because the compression is so low. It's 8.39 to 1 static compression. The intake valve closing point on that cam is a 63.5 degree or 64 degree, we'll say. The effective compression ratio with 17 pounds of boost is 12.88 to 1. So, at 2,134 foot, which is this elevation. So, should be good. Solid roller. I do have to run a bronze distributor gear with this cam, which that's another reason why I like to run a street roller profile versus a race roller profile, because you can run a regular distributor gear and all that other stuff, and the lift's not crazy and the spring pressures aren't crazy, and you can get away with running them on the street. But I'm going to show you the lifters that I'm running with this combo, which is going to make it live a lot longer on the street. They are direct oiling to the roller itself, and they are, I think they're called the Endurex, Comp Cams Endurex. They're not cheap, they're really expensive, but they're a good street roller lifter for a solid roller cam if you want to run one on the street. But I'm gonna shut up and get this cam put in there and degree it and check everything and make sure it's all good. All right, I got this and some oil pan bolts and all this stuff. I got to set the end play on the camshaft because, like I say over and over again when I put these motors together, anytime I use a roller cam, you got to set end play because these cams are ground flat. They're not on a taper like I flat tap it. So for the roller, you got to set in play, otherwise your cam's going to walk back and forth and your lifter's not going to ride where they need to, and it's just not good. So you need about 4 or 5 thousandths in play. So that's what you try to set. And to do that, you got to put a cam button on it and adjust and adjust. We can fit it until it's right. It just takes forever.
I feel better about that.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Alright, got my pickup stuff on, pan stuff's on. This has got trays and stuff in it. Yeah, everything's going good. Camshaft's in, all that stuff. I'm gonna flip it over and drop the lifters and stuff in it and set the heads on and measure push rod length. Alright, I usually run the Lunati style pop-up lifters, but these are the Endurex, and they have an oil pinhole that oils the roller directly. So they're a little heavier than what I would prefer, but they got that oil hole, so that's what I'm running. Part number 81816. lifters and stuff in. Everything's oiled and lubed up. Just don't ever want to put them in dry. Never want to put it in dry. All right, there's the heads. I got to change these springs out. This is springs for a hydraulic roller. I got to swap them springs out to a different spring. The Howard's Max Effort springs. They're 200 on the seat and 400 to 450 open pressure, which is plenty good enough for the camshaft. It's not a big roller. It's just a solid roller. It's nothing massive. But these heads are CNC ported. Let's see CNC ported 220 cc runner, 64 cc combustion chamber. I gotta wait on springs and head studs. I would just run regular head bolts, but I don't got none of them either. I've used up everything that I've had putting motors together for people and stuff, so all my stuff's pretty much used up and gone. But I was gonna paint them heads black, but I'm just gonna leave them like that, leave them aluminum. All right, I got to a stop on my 355 heads and stuff. I got to order head bolts and or head studs and a couple other things. So can't really finish that. I mean, it's pretty much finished. Just got to put the top end, the heads and intake stuff on. So push the 74 back in here and get everything hooked up. Plugs, plug wires, oil system, oil lines, distributor wiring, starters wired up, alternators wired up, all that crap's wired up. Now I'm fixing to do the turbos, got the fan and all that stuff on, fixing to do the turbos, the inlet tubes, carburetor, the hat. Then the last thing will probably be the radiator, and then I got to pick it up and put the bolts in for the cross member and the drive shaft, and then change shifters, and then hook the shifter cable and stuff up. All right, radiator, coolant, and all that stuff's in. Everything's plumbed, everything's good. O2 sensor and stuff's hooked up, everything's hooked up. So just got to get underneath. I got to change the shifter out, pick this thing up, put the drive shaft in it, the shifter, bolt the converter up, and should be good.
Just that way you can actually see the cable.
All right, after messing with the winch and everything else, we got the truck on the trailer backwards so that when we take it to carriers, we can roll it in forwards. Oh man, there's a hole. All right, we got Colton's S10 up on the lift over here. We got everything off, turbos and all that.
Oh yeah, look at that hole.
Oh man. Yeah. Man, that makes me sad.
I know.
Well, see, we got everything off. I pulled this motor out in my 356. It's 40 over. This is going in the S10 for the toy run. All right, there's the 406 over there in the corner. And here is my old 356. Look at them cast iron bow tie heads. Nothing but the best. This is stock crank, stock rods, and forged pistons, gap for about 25 pounds.
It'll just be until I fix another motor.
Yeah, unless this one outrun his other one.
Temporary transplant.
There's a third, there's that washer.
It's a lot of trouble to get toys, ain't it?
Not really, we'd have done it anyway.
Well, the truck needs to be mobile.
Huh?
Oh
Truck
yeah,
needs to be mobile.
everything's got to move.
Yeah, that pushing ain't.
Yeah, that pushing sucks.
If you want to, you can pull that thermostat out, because you ain't gonna have a mechanical fan like I had.
Yeah, I'll have to.
Well, there's gonna be Saturday, December 3rd.
Be
Going
there.
out. Noise and toys are gonna roll for the kids.
Yeah, and don't be a panucha.
Yep, I'll be one of them panuchas.
Yeah, don't be a panucha. Come on out.
No excuse. Come
Rain
on.
or shine, cold,
Come
whatever.
on. Come on, suck it up. Come on, kids need us. We ain't got no heat. Everything's blowed up. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Roll right on.
Where's your hat?
Worry not if you got windshield wipers. They got rain ants.
Yeah, but I ain't got no wipers. I ain't got no heat.
It's on my Makita. It's already on the
That
Makita.
nice pair of drawers. You know,
There.
like Carrie's doing.
Oh yeah.
You better leave it.
There you go. Might be the few of the crowd, but we're gonna go.
Remember that one year there was like 10 of us because of the rain. It was
We
cold
stood
and
out there
raining.
one year and it was 30 degrees, ice and rain. It was cold, stood there the whole time.
Yeah.
But
We still drove our cars.
We still went. Took them. We went. Mom's out there 88, 87, 88, 86, 87, 88 years old. So never not crack a smile. She was always right there.
Seatbelt tighten up.
This one, John.
Oh.
We didn't get for the kids though. You ever had a shitty Christmas? You don't forget it. So.
All right. Put Colton's distributor cap and plug wires on and put my blanket back on. He routed my oil feed line down that way so to connect to those. And then we put his headers and stuff on. Everything else is exactly like it was.
Yeah.
He did take a thermostat out.
Yeah, because mine.
And then he put bolts in this because I had a mechanical fan. He don't run one. But other than that, everything's ready to go in. Oh yeah. All right. Everything's in there. Just got to bolt the converter up, turbos, and I mean, the major part's done.
Yeah.
So this thing should fire up.
Did you get all the transmission bolts tight?
Yep.
The bottom ones too?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
All right. While I was building the carburetor, Dad and Colton got everything buttoned back up on here. Turbos and inlet tubes and lines and all that. It almost looks like his motor is in there, except for the valve covers.
It was like 1960s.
Yeah,
326.
yeah, it's a Corvette. It's a Corvette motor. It's a 283.
283. 4-bar.
Yeah, I changed a bunch of stuff in this carburetor because this engine doesn't require the massive carburation that the other one did. So,
With my huge heads and everything.
yeah, that thing's gonna have to get shoved on there further than that.
This is the tape.
It was a horn.
It's a horn.
Yeah, I didn't know you. I forgot you had a horn that worked.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet car.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Well, there it is. 356 is in, fired up, running, timing set, everything's good. It fired up pretty much first rotation. So now Colton can make it on the tour run. Now I'm gonna roll mine in here and button it up and fire it up too.
2 in a day.
Yeah, that's an all fresh engine, everything.
My struggles for one. You got 2.
Now everybody struggles with cleaning their tires and waxing their car. Like I couldn't make it. I couldn't get to the car wash on time.
I've been working on about 4 years. I still didn't get it out.
People that's got a garage,
Next year.
money, they got everything to do a car and just won't do a car.
I'll get it done next year. I'll bring it. It's too
Yeah.
cold now. Then it'd be too hot.
I'll have mine there next year.
Then it'd be too hot. Then it's too cold to work on it. Then it's too, I ain't got no money. I ain't got no time.
Yeah,
Damn sure I ain't got enough time not to do it.
exactly. You can make time if you want it bad enough. You can make time.
You do it. You just don't want to do it. So,
Hold on, don't push.
hang on.
Yeah, don't be a panucha. Panucha.
Panucha. I'm gonna get a decal. Don't be a panucha.
Yeah.
A panucci. How you
Yeah.
spell panucci?
I looked it up. I actually Googled it to make sure that it was the word that we're thinking of. It is slang for vagina
Is it?
in Spanish, yeah. Because his converter's tighter. All right, it's like 20 degrees, and we had to drive the trailer and truck up here because the truck wouldn't come out of there because it's slick with the S10 on the back. Do what?
The leaves a little slick.
Yeah, it's all slick. So it's 20 degrees. We're loading this thing in the dark with no light, other than our flashlights.
We do everything great shit, man.
But it's running and it come out of there under its own power. So that's something. And it sounds good. It sounds really good.
It does sound damn good. We done shit like normal people, man. It'd be crazy.
Yeah, well, we don't. So this is normal.
Yeah, this is normal.
Yeah. Yeah, up here, and this is like not the best part of town at all. At all. All right, we'll pause it right. All right, yesterday we were winching it on the truck. No, not yesterday, day before yesterday. We winched it on the truck, on the trailer. Today, he can drive it off with a completely different engine and everything. That's cool.
It's cold.
Yeah, it's cold. All right, we got another motor and that stuff in the S10. I got my motor and trains and stuff in this car. Just got it fired up. But right now we are tearing down Colton's 406. So we can see what all's broke in it. We know what is broke. Just don't know what else is broken, if the blocks are good or not. So that's what we're doing.
And then turn it back down, that way the oil didn't leak out.
Oh, yep, there is the
I'll probably figure this
cap.
out before I get a reply.
It's all in the
I
pan.
don't know how to bleed the oil out of this.
That's a piece of a rod.
I don't see it first or
There's a rod cap.
anywhere.
I don't know what that is.
Here, I don't know if that's enough.
All right, this is the side that's blowed.
Yep, ready?
Yep. Oh. Yep, number 7 is gone.
Yeah, that piston shouldn't be sideways in there.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't.
That's not normal. That's unfortunate.
How are we gonna get that thing out?
It'll come out. Oh, your block's gone.
Where?
Oh, God. Shine your light in there so I can see. Oh, that is awful.
Yeah.
Cam looks okay.
Yeah? Looks like it might have missed all of the cam.
Man. Yeah, God, that's awful. Yeah, it didn't, the wrist pin didn't come out. It just ripped the rod apart.
Here, shine your light so I can take a picture.
You get the other one, too.
No,
Yeah, it
just-
got that piston,
Yeah, the lower side of it.
but it's just the skirt of that one.
It just ripped the rod right in half.
God, I can't believe it.
All right, people. Here we go. Brace yourselves. Oh, that's a dart block too.
Dart SHP.
Yep.
Rod failed.
Yeah, and then yeah, it literally the rod just let go.
Yeah.
Nothing got hot. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah.
God,
I mean,
man. Oh yeah, the motor turns over fine.
yeah.
And you can't even have that crank turn neither. It gouges that crank so
Yeah,
bad.
that crank shot.
Yeah, look. Smooth as silk. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah.
Dang it, Ricky Bobby.
But you look at the top, where's that piston at? You can look at the top of the piston, absolutely no sign of detonation, nothing ever got hot. The tune was right, the the rod just let go. Now all that happened when we had to beat it out of there.
Yeah.
But man. Yeah, well. Oh,
So when you do things, you do it right. I bet your girlfriend really loves you.
The destroyer. You destroy holes, Colton.
What me and Cole was just talking about, it did all that damage and never made a sound.
Yeah, it just shut off.
Yeah,
It just went quiet.
absolutely just shut itself off. I bet you could pull the other rods off. The clearances are probably still fine. The bearings probably look brand new.
Probably look perfect.
Just
You want to pull a rod cap?
rod couldn't take it. You want to just pull it apart, or you want to just
Just leave it.
mess with it
Yeah.
maybe this weekend or something.
You can pull a rod cap on one of the other ones.
Yeah, let's knock one of the rods out. Just look. All right, we're gonna pull a rod.
Oh, we don't need to pull the whole rod. Just the cap off. Look at the bearing.
Yeah. Look at that journal. It's like brand new. Look at the bearing. Still got the coating on it. That's. I'm not gonna tell you how much horsepower that thing took, but I'll tell you, it went to 7,000 RPM every time you sat down in it. Look at that. All that little slight scratching. That's from when the stuff went through it.
Yeah.
When that thing let go.
Yep. When it went through the oil, I like look
Yep.
right there.
Yeah.
Little piece.
Look, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
Till you get back here.
Till you get down there.
Yeah. All right. I went ahead and pulled the motor back out. It like you could rotate it around and it had this little tight spot to it. And I was like, hopefully it'll be all right because I didn't have no other options. But I did build another motor over there. So I will snatch it back out and I'll put the small block in it tomorrow. I got to finish building the small block and then put it in tomorrow. But it is what it is. Okay, so things change quick around these parts. I built a 509, put it in my car, fired it up, and it's just, there's something wrong with that motor. The crank is just out of whack, distorted or something, because I've never put a motor together and it done what that one done ever in my life. And I've built tons and tons and tons of motors with no problems. They usually fire up and they're perfect and good to go, and you run them for years, and then you know, we tear them down and rebuild them. So something wooky about that 509. I'm going to take it back apart, and I'm probably going to order a different crank for it, because that's one of the early Eagle cranks, and the clearances is just all over the place. You try to get them right, and they're just too tight. Clearance is just way too tight on that thing. It's fully assembled, sitting over in the corner with the turbo headers and everything on it. I'm going to pull that back apart and do something different. It's just way too tight, and I don't trust it. So it's back out. This is the 355 that I was putting together with all the forged internals, forged pistons, forged rod, forged Liberty crank, solid roller lifters, solid roller cam. And these heads are off Colton's motor that the rod come apart and drove the piston through the side of the block and just destroyed pretty much everything. But the heads were salvageable, and the intake and stuff like that. He lived off ramen noodles and SpaghettiOs to buy that thing for weeks, and putting back every dollar he could get to get that block. So it sucks to see it destroyed. Like, I feel like I've lost a family member. Like me, Colton, Dad, and that S10 and that motor have been through so many situations. It's just lots of memories, lots of good times. And this changed everything. When we went turbos and when we got this block and everything else, we went from a laughing stock, a joke, to everybody to, oh, great, that S10's here now. So everybody laughed at us and made fun of us, and now everybody's behind us. Well, not everybody, but folks that made fun of us in the beginning thought I was dumb and thought I didn't know what I was doing and everything else. So Skull Motors to the front of the line. But after Christmas is over and everything else, I'll get me a hydraulic roller cam and put in it, and then just pull his heads off and put my other heads on, and it'll be fine. But he has no use for these because his motor's destroyed, and I give him my other motor, the other 356 I have put together. It's an S10 now with the twin turbos and everything on it. So he's got my other motor, and I built this one, and I built the 509. It's engine chaos, and I have been going like a mad person. Just crazy. But anyway, this is going together today. I got to get some oil, throw a filter on it, prime it, drop it down in there, hook everything up, and fire it up, and it should be real nice. All right, valves are set. I got good clearance between them. Set the lash at 17 thousandths, so it'll heat up to open up to about 21. Usually open about 4 or 5 thousandths. When they get hot, the aluminum expands, loosens everything up. Head bolts torque 70 foot-pounds. I'm going to bring it around, put it back top dead center, throw the intake on it, and I primed it. It got oil up to the top almost instantly. That was awesome. So, all right, there she is. Everything's primed, distributors in, set number 1, top dead center. All right, it's in there. It's got to tighten up all the trans bolts.
Little springs?
Yeah. All right, it fired up. The camera wasn't going because I ain't got but about 3% battery left. But it did fire up. I got to get some plugs and put in it. And it run for about 5 minutes. So, well, maybe not that long, maybe 2 minutes. But got to put a tune in it and set the timing and put the radiator and all that stuff on it. Then I can put the good plugs in it, fire it up, and then we'll actually hear it. But it does live, so that's cool. But I'm calling it for today. I'm gonna take the 74 up the road with the new combo. This is a 8.39 to 1 compression 355 small block. Well, I just took it up the road. I'm not sure where the boost went to. I'm uploading the video to the computer right now so I can look back and see where the boost went to, what the AFRs and stuff were. But this thing acts like it's got like a 557 gear or something in it. It's unbelievable how well it runs. But there we go. Cruise AFRs are a little rich. But I can't believe how good this thing runs. It runs way better than the big motor. Like as far as power and how snappy it is. Let's see if this transparent was. I'm getting ready for the toy run. I'm setting. She's cleaning.